So, answering the first question, the one I chose was much of the advice in this chapter is focused on finding careers more than simply finding work. How does this search change when you shift from finding work to finding a career, or does it change? So, some of the stuff I wrote down was to me, a career is more of a long term thing that you're looking for, to where work is more of a short term thing. The search definitely changes because there's a lot more factors when you're looking for a career rather than just work. So, one thing like I look at is like family is a big thing for me. So like if I have a career, I want it to be something that I can still be around my family a lot and like be there for them. But like if I'm gonna go do work, like that would be like something I pick up like on a weeknight or like a one time thing. Like someone needs some help with their yard or like building something, and you say, yeah, I can come help you for so long. That would be work, rather than you can't really make a career out of that because it's only a one time thing. It's only happening once. um, on page 67 of the book, it talks about searching for careers, and it talks about how, like I said earlier, there's a lot more factors that play into it, and how if you wanted to have a family life at home, you're not going to want to be a foreign correspondent because like you're always going to be traveling, and it's not going to work out very well for that. So that kind of answers that question. I think the search changes a lot because of the different factors such as family, money, consistency of your career, all those different things, schedule, that kind of stuff. The second question that I chose to answer was, while you may be sick of comparing and contrast questions, I have yet another. Often we gain interview experience simply by doing interviews. Sometimes we do a little Google search here and there for interview tips and whatnot, but share your interview experiences and discuss how the tips provided in the text may have helped or hindered your previous interviews. So I've really only had one true interview experience, and that was when I was 13. I interviewed to work at the local pool. It was kind of a different setup interview than explained. There was a group of us that interviewed together to try and get the job. I think there was a group of 6 or 7 of us, and they asked a lot of like normal questions, and then they tied a few of like how we would be of help to the pool staff and all that kind of stuff. So that's not really a true interview experience, but one thing I learned about that is the more you prepare, the more comfortable you feel, and like you're still going to be uncomfortable, but sitting up straight and having good body language and responding. One of the biggest things I found was responding with confidence. A lot of the people in that interview didn't really respond with confidence, but the ones who I noticed responded with confidence, and I feel like I responded with confidence, we were the ones who ended up being hired for the job. So I think that's one of the biggest things. The second job that I held, aside from the family job that I hold now, I never really had a true interview, but I know the book talked about how like in an interview you're always with every person in the company you're being interviewed. And so my second job was with a farmer who I went to church with, and there was a lot of kids he could have picked from, but like how I acted at church and how I carried myself, and he knew me in my personal life too, and he knew that I was a hard worker and that all that kind of stuff, right? So that's kind of like another way, like you're getting interviewed every day by people. And so especially if you live in a small town like I do, like if you ever try to go get a career in your small town, like people know you, and every day is an interview, so you have to, you know, be a good person, and that's going to go a long ways with a lot of people. So one thing that like this wasn't in the book, but I kind of thought of it as I was reading. It's not really an interview, more of a test, but we all took our test, or most of us probably took our test to get our driver's license. And that's one form of kind of an interview, kind of how your preparation for an interview. I remember going out with my mom the night before my drive test, and we drove all over, and I was like making sure I did everything right, hands on the steering wheel, figuring out how to park, making sure you're coming to a complete stop, signaling, all that stuff. So that's kind of one way. Like the same thing is for an interview, you're going to prepare like the way you're going to do it in the interview, and that's going to help you to do it the best way you can. So yeah, that's what I got.